Hey, welcome, welcome. As you can see, we've got two monster trucks. Both of them are dualies, and we got two fellas right here ready to work.
Yeah, man. You know why? Because this is America, and we're hauling freedom.
That's right. We got a lot of fixes to do on this old one. We got some upgrades to do on this new one. Because you know what? We're ready to work to get our buddy back on the road. You know, even though we have two trucks, we're gonna start with one at a time.
Thank God. The old one. Now, this one's got a couple problems, but we popped the hood and our familiar 6.7. If you recall, we had one of these in the shop not too many years ago. Dissected the whole thing. Really interesting, intriguing motor. And let me show you just a couple really cool features with it, including like the turbo sits right here in the middle of the motor, right? And when that came out, that was mind-blowing. Now, this would be the intake/valve cover here, and actually is outboard, so it brings it in, right?
Yeah, it takes the intake from the outside, and the exhaust comes up through the middle, so it's like inside out. It's backwards.
Yeah.
But it's brilliant. Now, this one is pushing over 1,000 because he's got some mods on it, and that's part of why we got some transmission problems.
Yeah.
Because he's been hammering on it so hard, and he works it hard too, man. He travels and delivers vehicles and tows nonstop.
Right, so this thing's had some abuse thrown at it. Now we're gonna get that big boy out, get it on the ground. We'll show you some parts and pieces on that. So I guess the main thing is to get this big guy up in the air and get underneath it.
You take care of that?
Yeah, man, so I'm gonna lift here. You just get ready to climb under, lift with your legs.
Higher, man, higher. I don't want to be crawling on the dirt. Come on.
Yep, no, it's not gonna probably need a
All
jack.
right, let's get to this. Okay, so we ended up using the lift because Willie ran out of steam to get this thing up in the air, but here we are, and we're elbow deep.
Yeah. All right, let's talk safety, because this thing is really heavy. I mean, I couldn't lift it. I tried. All right, so we have some pole jacks on the lift, on the front, and on the rear of the vehicle, just to help us with stability, okay? Now, once you have this big rig braced up, you gotta get underneath here and start pulling things, like disconnecting the battery, pulling the starter, right?
Yeah, so one of the things you gotta do is disconnect the torque converter, which is inside to the engine. And to do that, like you said, you pull the starter, because there's an access pocket, so the starter comes out. And of course, you have these big live wires, so that's why you're pulling that battery cable. There's also an oil filter adapter that's kind of right up in here in your way. And there's a little cover plate in there. And once you pull that, then you can get to those torque converter bolts. And you've got to rotate clock, each one.
Right.
But then you're ready to kind of strip all this other stuff and eventually separate.
And he's speaking of other stuff like this, right? This drive shaft, it's a four-wheel drive, lives up in here. You got to get it down. You got to make sure all your wiring harnesses are unhooked, okay? Any sort of linkage that you may have hanging around the other drive shaft, it's always a good idea to index them as well. Just a couple of little safety features, because when this thing gets moving and shifting, the last thing you want to do is have to reach up here and try to disconnect something to get to it.
Yeah, and one thing that sometimes gets forgotten that you might need to do is disconnect the actual dipstick tube, because a lot of times they're reaching way up there and they won't snake out, so check out your application, right? Maybe you separate it down here and it stays up there.
Smart to separate down here, super cumbersome to wiggle out. Now, another thing that we noticed with this Ford transmission is, well, the transmission pan has this big sort of hump in it, if you will. So it's gonna make it shift one way or another on the actual transmission jack. Well, we don't want none of that, because this guy weighs 350 pounds.
Yeah.
Woo, that's heavy, man.
Yeah, so we got a great tip for you. And it's kind of funny because we're taking a brand new part, putting it on an old part that we're taking off, but we'll explain why.
Yes, exactly. Now, we got this pan from ATS Diesel, and as you can tell, a lot thicker. You see these vents in here, the construction's a lot thicker, a lot stronger, plus it's flush. That means it's gonna sit on the transmission jack, nice, level, and you'll be able to control that on its way down. Now, if you look inside, all right, it's got these vents for cooling and rigidity, so it's a tough signature pan from ATS Diesel, and definitely a great safety feature when you're taking something this heavy out. Now, we're gonna take this out, and then we're gonna get to our cross member, and then what else?
Yep, we got our transfer case. So that's the 4x4 mechanism sitting on the backside, big, clunky, and awkward. So once that's set up, drop, and then a couple bolts and this thing will come out and be on the ground. Man, I'm really glad we got a new jack recently because that made this, big heavy job just nice and smooth.
Yeah, man, you got that right. And real quick, I just want to show you again how you can support the motor. We use the pole jack right here just so it doesn't give you that sag. Make sure all your linkage, your dipstick is out of the way, and there's a bolt up here at the top. You want to make sure you get out and bring it down slowly. Just take a little time getting this big thing out.
Yeah, we're gonna get this thing out, prep our replacement transmission, and get ready to get it back in. In the meantime, take a quick break.
The modern transmission is a product of worldwide innovation that started back before the turn of the last century. Now, can you match these inventors to their transmission designs? We'll reveal the answer after the break. So, were you able to match the transmission inventors to their inventions? Well, let's find out. A pair of Frenchmen first demonstrated a rudimentary 3-speed manual transmission in 1894. In 1904, a Massachusetts-based engineer developed an early version of the 2-speed automatic transmission. And Earl Thompson's Synchromesh transmission was introduced with GM's release of the 1928 Oldsmobile. This Two Guys Garage IQ test is brought to you by Federated Auto Parts.
Now, it's much easier to see everything out here than way up tucked in there.
Yeah.
Now, this is the transfer case we talked about. This is the four-wheel drive part. This mates to the back end of the transmission. So we got our output shaft coming in here. We got a drive shaft going to the rear. And if I turn this, right, you can see how this one's driving the shaft to the front-wheel drive part of it. So
now you could imagine what a huge cumbersome piece if that is still mated to this, trying to get it out of that little space. So obviously you want to split it, separate it, that way you can get to this guide. Number one upgrade, number one point of failure for these Ford transmissions is the torque converter. It's usually not the transmission. So we upgraded it to an ATS converter. Now this is ATS diesel, and I gotta tell you, man, they support the heck out of these converters, a 5-year warranty, and they really build them tough. This thing comes in about 90, 95 pounds. It's almost double what this factory converter is. It's crazy.
yeah, now these are a lot of stamped steel parts. I mean, they're great for kind of stock torque, but when you're out here really jacking up the power and torque on this thing, and you're doing nothing but towing big, heavy vehicles and trailers, I mean, you're gonna fail that thing. So that's why we've got this one. And you can see this has got much more billet type section parts. It gives it the mass. It's got 5 clutches in there with proprietary clutch materials. I mean, it is the bomb. Now we're gonna mate that with kind of a low mileage used transmission, but we got our pan already mounted on here.
There you go.
That combo should do really well for this thing.
It's always good to know. We got some fluid in here. You want to lube up this seal right here. Now this one, like he said, low mileage redone. It's already, lubed up, and then we have some lube around the shaft. The big thing is just getting this big beast right inside the...
This is a two-person version here.
Nice. You're gonna
Now you rotate,
move it and feel
and
it. Kind of.
there we go. All right.
Maybe one more.
That kind of went
That
pretty
went
deep,
pretty
man.
good, yeah.
All right, so usually you'll have a couple, clicks as you go in there.
Yeah.
Seems seated pretty well, and I think we're ready to put it back up on there and get it up in the car.
Yeah, man. Just go ahead. Lift it right up.
Well, it does have this hook here, but it's so wimpy. I don't know what's going on.
All right.
Your truck's suspension components take a lot of abuse, so it's important to replace the original equipment with the right parts. Ball and socket joint designs are either greasable or sealed. But how do you know which design is the right fit? It really depends on how you use your truck. First, let's look at the metal-on-metal or greasable design. This is proven technology for heavy-duty and fleet applications. The metal bearings require regular service to refresh the layer of grease between the ball and socket to lubricate parts and flush out contaminants. For trucks that are used for hauling heavy loads, pick up some premium RD components from Mass Industries. These parts are built for hard-working vehicles with a larger ball for better weight distribution and an integrated bearing for improved durability under heavy loads. However, if your truck is a daily driver and you aren't having it serviced as frequently, metal-on-metal suspension components may wear down and fail much earlier. A better fit for normal use vehicles is a seal design, like these Premium XL replacements. They're made with the best ingredients possible, including armor-grade studs and a low-friction polymer bearing that provides fresh from the dealership performance. And since they're lubricated for life with OE premium grease, they're virtually maintenance-free. Find your perfect fit from Mass Industries at your local Federated Auto Parts.
Okay, we got everything up here, man. We're really close. We replaced the flex plate, so we got a new bolt pattern matching
Nice.
to our upgraded converter.
Yeah, man. It's all about upgrading this thing. And now, the alignment issues. So you got a couple dowels that sit up there. You got a couple sort of cradles they sit in. Just lining those up, getting those set. Key, obviously, first. It's a little wiggle here, wiggle there. Man, sweet. Okay, couple little compromises. A small flesh wound, some wiggle room, couple bolts, we're good.
Yeah, so we got the mating part done. That's the hardest, that's the
Right.
biggest, clunkiest. We'll run all those bolts nice and tight. Then we can put the transfer case back on, the cross member on. Then it's set in there nicely. And that's putting all that stuff back on that we took off.
Yeah, man. But I tell you what, we're gonna take a quick break because when we come back, we have another one of these big trucks that we're doing something really cool with. So stick around.
Newer with new goodies.
This segment of Two Guys Garage is brought to you by Power Stop Brakes. Don't just stop, Power Stop.
Hey guys, welcome back. Now we got rid of our 2011 Super Duty, our buddy's truck. It's all ready to go. That's his old one. This is his new rig, a 2016. We're doing some mods to it. The first one I thought of didn't go over so well. Let's make this thing into a swimming pool.
Well, I wouldn't put, anything past Kevin to be in the bed of the truck and, make it something like a cooler or a hot tub. But we're talking hauling, and I mean trailers, hitches. And let me explain the class 1 or 2 trailer hitch, the old sway bar system, right? It's simple, man. It's easy. Hooks to your bumper. Great if you're towing like light loads. Now a class 3 and 4 will get you about 10,000 pounds of gross trailer weight. But if you're serious, you got a herd of draft horses, a big RV, or a serious epic race trailer, you got to go to a Goose Neck or a 5th wheel. Why? Because that gets you up around 30,000 pounds of towing capacity.
Yeah, so you're moving where your trailer mounts from the back of your vehicle up over the axle. And if you think about, it doesn't really interfere with the bed of your truck, so you can drop this in a little slot, take it back out again, use your truck as normal. But a 5th wheel, even though it gets you more capability, there's usually a setup here and you're kind of limited. So
For sure.
Great compromise system for getting a lot of capability without really kind of eliminating some of the use of your truck.
Yeah, man. So there's 2 ways to do this. You could lift the bed off of the truck and tackle it, that way. But actually, the instructions, directions, a lot of people do it while the bed is on the truck. We're gonna show you and walk through each step of doing that whole process. I think you're gonna enjoy it. So, hauling, hitching, that's our deal for today.
That's right. All right, let's get you up to speed. We got the first couple steps of installing our B&W trailer hitches Goose Neck system.
Yeah, man. Now, this thing is gonna be able to tow and haul just about anything you put behind it. A couple things just to, sort of keep in mind. We were lucky our heat shield wasn't in the way, but some applications you'll have to move the heat shield or an exhaust bracket. But that being said, we opted to actually lift the bed of the truck versus notching it out. Made it really simple, able to get those brackets and just slide those in.
Yeah.
And that allows for a couple of these final pieces.
Yeah, so those frame rails you talked about go crossways, right? They attach into here. This goes up underneath, the bed, right over the axle.
Sure.
And you'll see up on the bed, what we did is we just made sure, we measured across the bed. There's a little pilot hole right in that nice little spot from the factory.
Yeah, man.
It was dead nuts right on.
Yeah.
So we drilled out a 4-inch hole with a hole saw. That's gonna give us the clearance here.
Yes.
And once all this is bolted up under there, we'll show you how it works here.
Yeah.
Now from the side, you can come over here and release a through pin. So if I pull that back.
Yeah, and the great thing about the B&W turnover hitch, #1 hitch sold in the country when it comes to goosenecks, but these things really give you a couple options, right? So if you need a hitch, right, this is underneath, you just drop this guy right in there, boom, your gooseneck goes down.
Yeah.
And with these, with these particular hitches, let's say you want to get rid of this, you wanted a flush bed, well, check this out. Pull that, sink this in,
Nice.
the locking mechanism, poof, and your bed's flush.
What's cool is that pin goes all the way through. It's super sturdy and it's easy to install. So we've got part of it going. We got the holes in. We just got to get the rest of this mounted up in there.
There you go, man.
Let's roll.
All right. Got one. Hold that.
You want to go ahead and get another one? All right, we've got this thing just about buttoned up and ready to haul the mail.
Yeah, man. Anything.
Yeah, but we got some cool stuff just showed up at the shop. Why don't you come check it out with us?
Oh, yeah.
All right, gang, check out what we've got today. Now, you know, the factory is recommending on newer vehicles these longer oil change intervals, like 8, 10, 15,000 miles.
Crazy.
The key is you need a good filter.
Exactly. You do not want your filter to go in bypass mode. Now, here comes Purelator Boss. This is an unbelievable filter. It's made from 100% full synthetic media. Now that gives you smart fusion technology. It's gonna allow performance increases and give you an extended life of 15,000 miles.
Yeah, that's huge. Now it also has an ethylene acrylic Puro seal, you know, for where it mates onto the engine. So everything about it from the steel construction is meant to last. It's the last filter you need to think about buying. Now, a great way to trick out your ride from LMC Truck. It's their premium billet door and window cranks.
Yeah, man, this thing really top notch. They have steel inserts, 3 set screws. They're about 4 and 5/8 inch long, so that gives you plenty of leverage, smooth action. You gotta like that.
Yeah, now you can get them in sort of black anodized or polished like you see here. American made, you gotta love that, man.
No doubt. And LMC Truck has all kinds of parts for your Ford, Chevy, GMC, or Dodge truck. They got them all.
Yeah, that's right, from the 40s on up, check them out at LMC Truck. You know, one of the most handy products you can own, whether it's in your professional shop, home garage, or especially at the track, is the Quick Jack from Ranger Products.
Yeah, I'm telling you, so many instances are like, I wish I could get my car in the air so I can get underneath it, work on it. And this setup, simple, easy. Now the whole configuration all bolts together. It comes in a nice little package. It's 3 inches, so it slides underneath almost any car you can imagine. And it comes in a variable sizes, so you get 3,500 pounds or 5,000 pounds. Sweet.
Yeah, now you can do a 110 volt system or a 12 volt DC. It has convenient wheels. You can roll it right underneath the vehicle, and by the push of a button, in less than a minute, your car is in the air.
It's rugged. It's got some safety locking bars. It's from Ranger Products. It's called Quick Jack.
All right, now check this out. This thing is super cool. It's the Smart Washer from Chemfree. Now it's a bioremediating system for stripping oils and grease, which means there's microbes in there actually doing the work.
Yeah, the microbes actually have a name. We call them Ozzy. Now let me show you how this whole thing works. You have a heated part washer. You have the Ozzy juice. And in here, right, the Ozzy mat. Now you replace this every 30 days. This is where the microbes live. And I'm telling you, they're hungry. They go to work on all the dirt, grease, grime, and whatnot. And what you get left over is a perfectly clean fluid you could use again and again.
Yeah, nothing to haul away. It's just the solution. And what's great is it's non-hazardous, non-toxic, non-flammable, right? So you don't have to have the protective gear. You can put your hands right in it, and you don't need the ventilation. And my favorite part is it cleans your parts, man.
Perfect. You know, we oftentimes talk about all the cool upgrades you do to your truck and mods you could do to boost their towing capacity or hauling. Well, how many times do you forget to upgrade your fuel system? All right, now check out this. It's Diesel Extreme from our friends at Hot Shot Secret. And the best part about this stuff, it gives your basically entire fuel system a huge boost as well as some deep cleaning. Now, how does it do that? Real simple, it's gonna coat the entire tank, all your fuel lines. It's gonna clean your injectors, your cylinders, and so forth. And the great part is, it's a rust and kind of corrosion inhibitor. So when you drop that in, you know you're protected for 6 months or about 6,000 miles. And another great part about Diesel Extreme, it's so easy to do this mod. Watch this. You undo this cap right here. Whew, no sockets needed, no wrenches needed. And a slight tug on this, yeah, see, difficult. Now, this particular jug here does up to 80 gallons. We only have about a quarter of a tank, and we put this just in about any vehicle that's a diesel anyway that comes through our shop. So I have to do just a little bit, I'm all good to go. Perfect.
All right, easiest install, a click and a click. I've got my Sprint booster system in, and basically what it does is it connects your throttle pedal to the engine via a little controller. So I can change the factory sort of slow and boggy accelerator pedal settings and make my engine feel crisp and responsive. You know, if I want to slow it back down, I can do the same thing, and I can go in different modes. So instead of acceleration mode, I can go to valet mode, where I can actually drop the performance of my engine, so I don't have somebody out there doing burnouts in my cool car. or put it in pedal lockout, which means I can fire up the engine, but without my 3-digit code, it won't go anywhere. And I'll show you how easy it is. You unplug your throttle pedal, you plug this in, plug that back in the other side, and you're set. You connect up your little controller right here, and you can change your settings, or you can undo it and leave it. Really cool, really simple from Sprint Booster.
You made that install look like nothing.
It was nothing.
Nice
Now,
job.
the rest of the jobs, they were something. So now we got to end the show and get these trucks back. So
Okay.
we got 2 trucks, we got 2 of us. Which one you want?
I like this one.
All right, let's Rochambeau.
Got you. Ready?
Yep. 1, 2.
Bam! Yes! It just hit me. I've been hoodwinked. I can't believe it. I've been bamboozled by a buddy. The drop for this truck is 1 hour and 20 minutes away. I get the truck, it's got a long trailer with a couple of cars on it. He delivers cars for a living. I'm doing a car delivery. I'm working for free. Thank God. On the bright side, we did do some cool stuff today, right? Think about that first F350. All right, drop the transmission, put a new converter, new pan in that. On this one, we did some hot shot secret. That's always cool. The Goose Neck, awesome, right? Oh, and the Sprint Booster. The Sprint Booster. Hang on, let me set this Sprint Booster. All right, it's right here. Bam. Ooh. Yeah, that makes a difference. That's nice. All right. I like that.